Hello, Mark. My name is Hank in your junior class, and my student number is number 31. And this week I'm going to read two articles. The first one is titled "The Coolest Animal You Know Nothing About and How We Can Save It" by Patricia Medici or Patricia Medici. Um, and here we go. This is one of the most amazing animals on the face of the earth. This is a tapir. Now this is a baby tapir and the cutest animal offspring in the animal kingdom. By far, there is no competition here. I've dedicated the past 20 years of my life to the research and conservation of tapirs in Brazil, and it has been absolutely amazing. But at the moment, I've been thinking really hard about the impact of my work. I've been questioning myself about the real contributions I've made for the conservation of these animals I love so much. Am I being effective in safeguarding this survival? Am I doing enough? I guess the big question here is, am I studying tapirs and contributing to their conservation, or am I just documenting their extinction? The world is facing so many different conservation crises. We all know that. It's all over the news every day. Tropical forests and other ecosystems are being destroyed. Climate change, so many species on the brink of extinction. Tigers, lions, elephants, rhinos, tapirs. This is the lowland tapir, the tapir species I work with, the largest terrestrial mammal of South America. They're massive, they're powerful. Adults can weigh up to 300 kilos. That's half the size of a horse. They're gorgeous. Tapirs are mostly found in tropical forests such as the Amazon, and they absolutely need large patches of habitat in order to find all the resources they need to produce and survive. But their habitat is being destroyed and they have been hunted out of several parts of their geographic distribution. And you see, this is very unfortunate because tapirs are extremely important for the habitats where they are found. They're herbivores. 50% of their diet consists of fruit, and when they eat the fruit, they swallow the seeds, which they disperse throughout their habitat through their feces. They play this major role in shaping and maintaining the structure and diversity of the forest, and for the reason, tapirs are known as gardeners of the forest. Isn't that amazing? If you think about it, the extinction of tapirs will seriously affect biodiversity as a whole. I started my tapir work in 1996. Still, still very young and fresh out of college, and it was a pioneer research and conservation program. At that point, we had nearly zero information about tapirs, mostly because they are so difficult to study. They're nocturnal, solitary, very elusive animals, and we got started getting very basic data about these animals. But what is it that a conservationist does? Well, first we need data. We need field research. We need those long-term data sets to support conservation action. And I told you tapirs are very hard to study, so we have to rely on indirect methods to study them. We have to capture and anesthetize them so that we can install GPS collars around their necks and follow their movements, which is a technique used by many other conservationists around the world. And then we can gather information about how they use space, how they move through the landscape, what are their priority habitats, and so much more. Next, we must disseminate what we learn. We have to educate people about tapirs and how important these animals are. And it's amazing how many people around the world do not know what a tapir is. In fact, many people think this is a tapir. Let me tell you, this is not a tapir. This is a giant anteater. Tapirs do not eat ants, never ever. And then next we have to provide training, capacity building. It is our responsibility to prepare the conservationists of the future. We are losing several conservation battles, and we need more people doing what we do, and they need the skills and they need the passion to do that. Ultimately, we conservationists, we must be able to apply our data, to apply our accumulated knowledge to support actual conservation action. Our first tapir program took place in the Atlantic forest in the eastern part of Brazil, one of the most threatened biomes in the world. The destruction of the Atlantic forest began in the early 1500s. When the Portuguese first arrived in Brazil, beginning European colonization in the eastern part of South America, this forest was almost completely cleared of timber, agriculture, cattle ranching, and the construction of cities. And today, only 7% of the Atlantic forest is still left standing, and tapirs are found in very small, isolated, disconnected populations. In the Atlantic forest, we found out that tapirs move through open areas of pasture land and agriculture, going from one patch of forest to patch of forest. So our main approach in this region was to use our tapir data to identify the potential places for the establishment of wildlife corridors in between those patches of forests, and reconnecting the habitat so that tapirs and many other animals could cross the landscape safely. After 12 years in the Atlantic forest in 2008, we expanded our tapir conservation efforts to the Pantanal in the western part of Brazil near the border with Bolivia and Paraguay. This is the largest continuous freshwater floodplain in the world, an incredible place and one of the most important strongholds for lowland tapirs in South America. And working in the Pantanal has been extremely refreshing because we found large healthy tapir populations in the area, and we have been able to study tapirs in the most natural conditions we'll ever find, very much free of threats. In the Pantanal, besides the GPS colors, we are using another technique, camera traps. This camera is equipped with a moving sensor, and it photographs animals when they walk in front of it. So thanks to these amazing devices, we have been able to gather precious information about tapir reproduction and social organization, which are very important pieces of the puzzle when you are trying to develop those conservation strategies. And right now, 2015, we are expanding our work once again to the Brazilian Cerrado, the open grasslands and shrub forests in the central part of Brazil. Today, this region is the very epicenter of economic development in my country, where natural habitat and wildlife populations are rapidly being eradicated by several different threats, including once again cattle ranching, large large sugarcane and soybean plantations, poaching roadkill, just to name a few, and somehow tapirs are still there, which gives me a lot of hope. But I have to say that starting this new program in the Cerrado was a bit of a slap in the face when you drive around and you find dead tapirs along the highways and signs of tapirs wandering around in the middle of sugarcane plantations where they shouldn't be, and you talk to kids and they'll tell you that they know how tapir meat tastes because their families poach and eat them. It really breaks your heart. The situation in the Cerrado made me realize, it gave me the sense of urgency. I am swimming against the tide. It made me realize that despite 2 decades of hard work trying to save these animals, we still have so much work to do if we're to prevent them from disappearing. We have to find ways to solve all these problems. We really do. And you know what? We really come to a point in the conservation world where we have to think out of the box. We all have to be a lot more creative than we are right now. And I told you, roadkill is a big problem for tapirs in the Cerrado. So we just came up with the idea of putting reflective strikers on the GPS collars. We put on the tapirs. These are the same stickers used on big trucks to avoid collision. Tapirs cross the highways after dark, so the stickers will hopefully help drivers see this shiny thing cross the highway, and maybe they will slow down a little bit. For now, this is just a crazy idea. We don't know. We'll see if it will reduce the amount of tapir roadkill. But the point is, maybe this is the kind of stuff that needs to be done. And although I'm struggling with all these questions in my mind right now, I have a pack with tapirs. I know in my heart that tapirs conservation is my cause. This is my passion. I'm not alone. I have this huge network of supporters behind me, and this is no way I'm ever going to stop. I will continue doing this, most probably for the rest of my life, and I'll keep doing this for Patricia, my namesake, one of the first tapirs we captured and monitored in the Atlantic forest many years ago, for Rita and her baby Vincent in the Pantanal, and I'll keep doing this for Ted, a baby tapir we captured in the December last year, also in the Pantanal. And I will keep doing this for the hundreds of tapirs that I've had the pleasure to meet over the years, and the many others I know I will encounter in the future. These animals deserve to be cared for. They need me. They need us. And you know, we human beings deserve to live in a world where we can get out there and see and benefit from not only tapirs but all the other beautiful species now and in the future. Thank you so much.